Hello, my name is Prios and I'm a professional gambler. Today I want to bring you 10 quick tips to win at poker. These tricks can be applied by everybody immediately. You don't need to study or train many hours before using them. These are easy, quick tips everybody can use. If you use these tricks, you will become much better really quick and your results will be a lot better. Trick number 10. Have a solid bankroll management. This means don't play in games which are too high given the capital you got available. Only play in games you can afford. Don't play with money you cannot afford to lose. Trick number 9. Don't limp pre-flop. More specific, don't limp first in if someone having to act before you limped already. Feel free to limp as well. Why no limping, you might ask? It's because we want to come into the pot with strong hands. If your hand isn't good enough to come in for a raise, you probably shouldn't play it at all. Raising also has additional benefits. We narrow down the field pre-flop and we also can take down the pot uncontested if everybody folds to the raise. Trick number 8. Watch out for tells on your opponent. In general, in my opinion, tells are overrated, but sometimes you can pick up something on people. By the way, this is not only true for live poker but for online poker as well. Sure, live there is a much bigger variety of possible tells which are not available online, like body language, the way the guy talks and so on. But online there are also some tells you might pick up. If you are observant and pick up any detail you can get. Online, you can pick up timing or bet sizing tells, for example. This is also true live. Trick number 7. Play your draws aggressively. This is called a semi-bluff. It's called semi-bluff because at the moment you most likely have the worst hand, but it has a lot of potential to improve to a very strong hand. For example, a straight or a flush. If you play your draws aggressively, it also has a few more advantages. You can make your hand and win this way, or you can also win through your aggression if everybody gets out of the way and folds. It also helps your overall gameplay and game plan, as your opponent cannot always put you on a mate hand when you apply pressure. Trick number 6. Use a good hand selection pre-flop. This means being tight pre-flop and folding a lot of hands. You want to fold roughly 80% of your hands, maybe even more, in typical loose ring games. If you enter the pot, you want to make sure that you have a better hand on average than your opponent. This will make you a ton of money. Why is this the case? You will run into less marginal spots where it's really easy to lose a lot of money unnecessarily by making bad marginal decisions. You will also often dominate the hands of your opponent if you stick to this plan. Let's make an example for no limit Texas Hold'em. You got ace queen and hit an ace on the flop. So you make top pair second best kicker. Your opponent also got involved. Unluckily for him, he got a much weaker kicker. Let's say he has ace 8. His kicker is weaker, so if you don't get really lucky and makes 2 pair, you will win a lot of money out of him because he figures top pair is a strong enough hand to see a showdown. Another example for dominating your opponent's hand is with draws, because if a flush over flush situation occurs, you will more often have nutted hands or even the nuts. And in this spot, your opponent will most likely get stacked and you win a lot of money. Tip number 5. Play tag style. Tag stands for tight aggressive, meaning that you should select your starting hands very well and only get into the pot with solid hands. But if you get involved, you should play your hands aggressively. Why is aggression a key component to success in poker? This is the case because you can win pots even uncontested with nothing by getting your opponent to fold. In addition to that, usually the aggressor has an advantage over his opponent because he puts him to the test and applies a lot of pressure. And by this, you force your opponent to make mistakes. If you play tight, you also got a lot better table image, and people tend to believe you a lot more often because they are under the impression that you got a solid hand selection preflop. It's much easier for them to put you on something strong if you only enter the pots rarely. Tip number 4, adapt to your opponent. Be observant at all time and try to get a read on your opponent's playstyle and tendencies. Examples of taking advantages on your opponent's tendencies are not to bluff against players who are calling stations and who can't even lay down even weak hands. Another example would be to respect bets and raises from otherwise really passive opponents and only to continue with really strong hands in spots like this. Trick number 3, position matters. Try to play the majority of your hands in position. Being in position means that everybody else has to act before it's your turn. This gives you valuable information on how to proceed. This information advantage will help you to navigate a lot better than out of position. Out of position means that you are not the last guy to act. To make this very clear, I want to make 2 examples to illustrate the power of position. Let's say it's 3-handed and it's getting checked through on the flop. And on the turn it's getting checked to you again. Now you almost know for sure that no one has a strong hand, unless one of your opponents is very tricky. So you will be able to take down the pot most likely in this position by betting, no matter what your hand is. You can also pot control way better than in position. For example, you flop a marginal hand and you are the pre-flop aggressor. People will usually check to you. Now you have the luxury to take a free card and keep the pot small with a marginal holding. You can also draw for free if you figure that your hand is not good and your opponent is not going to fold. Trick number 2, game select well. I would like to quote Warren Buffett in this occasion. If you are being in a game 30 minutes and you don't know who the patsy is, you are the patsy. If you find yourself in a situation like this, quit immediately. I repeat, quit immediately. It also doesn't matter if you are up or down at this point. You are the worst player at the table, and in the long run it will definitely cost you tons of money if you continue to play in lineups like this. Always try to get into games with a lot of fish, and if the conditions change, don't be shy to quit and call it a day. Trick number 1, don't tilt. The psychological component of poker usually is way underrated. So what is tilt? Tilt or going on tilt means that you get enraged after a bad beat or because of something else. For example, like an opponent showing a bluff and you fold the best hand. From now on, your rationality and your edge you got in the game will go overboard and you will make ill-advised plays based on emotions only. I saw really good players never succeed because they could not control their emotions well. Don't get angry. If you still do, consciously pursue your emotions and let your brain overrule bad decisions you want to make based on tilt. If you cannot control tilt anymore or at all, the best advice is to quit the game and don't continue once you get mad. Walk away knowing you saved yourself a lot of money. This is a skill most poker players don't have, even pros don't have. If you can acquire a technique of tilt control, or if you quit after getting tilted, this will save you a lot of money in the long run. These are my 10 quick tips to immediately improve your poker game. Which one did you like the most? What tip do you plan to incorporate in your own game? Are there any more quick tips you got? Please let me know in the comments. This is it. If you liked the video, please destroy the like button until it turns blue. If you don't want to miss any future videos of me, please subscribe. It will help me a lot. If you also click the bell icon, it will make sure that you definitely will not miss any of my future content. Please also share this video with your friends that might need some poker tips and tricks. Thanks for watching. Until next time. Bye.